all and welcome. My name is Colette and I'm here today from Witchways, and I want to share with you today how to find and begin to work with your house spirit, the spirit of your home, as a witch. I hope you enjoy. My favorite videos that I've done are the ones that I've done about house spirits. I put a lot of energy, research, and experience into those, and I will link those other ones in the description. So how can a house spirit help you? A house spirit can help protect you and your home, bring in abundance, and is one of the safer spirits to work with for beginner witches. It can also help you develop your intuition by helping you know what the baseline energy is so that you can notice when other energy is around you and make it easier to notice when something is off. And how that shows up for everyone is different. It might take a while for you to learn how to notice those things. For me, the house spirit tells me, or it shows me an image of the gutters of my house needing to be cleaned out when there's too much energy built up or something is off. And sometimes my house spirit will even let me know when something is pushing magically at the edges. If, however, I do sense that something has actually gotten inside my energetic space or is inside my home, I'll start to take care of it by doing a triple clearing, which I've done a video on before, and that works really, really well. I feel like you can get to know your house spirit, start working with it at any time of year, and whatever time of year feels right to you is perfect. But I really like autumn because it's a transitional liminal time of the crossroads, and I feel like it's a really good time because we start thinking about moving more indoors and start noticing the energy of our homes more often. A lot of my magic is seasonal, and a lot of my magic mirrors what people normally do at this time of year, except I add a little bit of witchcraft edge just to give it a bit more oomph. So I like to start with preparing my house for the winter magically. If you haven't developed a relationship with your house spirit, this is a really good time to do it. There are a lot of different ways that you can look at various house spirits, and often they're remnants of old spirits of place or household deities, which comes from the Roman tradition of Lares. But here I want to talk about the spirit of your house itself, which I feel is unique and different from these things. As a witch who is an animist, I think that most things are alive. And even if they don't have a totally sentient spirit, I feel like the cells within them have life. I think it's harder to connect with newer buildings or apartment buildings, but it's not impossible. My house has been around for a while, so I find it relatively easy. There's a lot of ways to try and get to know your house spirit. Here's one thing to try. Start by putting your hands on the framing of your doorways somewhere in your house. Ideally, maybe in the center of your house, and then find a comfortable place to sit or stand and use very active visualization to imagine your consciousness sinking down through the floor, extending roots or tendrils of thought down through the framework of the house. Feel into the wood that was once part of a living tree. And once you've done that, you can come back to yourself and imagine yourself just softly expanding and letting yourself be still and in a slightly altered place of consciousness, and ask your house spirit to show you an image of itself to work with. Take some time, sit, be patient. It might help you to focus on some soft music, and if that does, go ahead and do that. And I think one of the most helpful things in witchcraft is to know what helps you go into a softened state of consciousness so that you can get that information. So don't be afraid to try different kinds of things to help you move into that childlike, play-like, daydreamy state. You can use candles, burn incense, and whatever helps you soften and go into that space. It's not a big mysterious thing. A lot of people make it more complicated than it is, But it's just kind of that daydream, wondering, clouds staring, seeing pictures in the clouds kind of state. It might take you some time to relax enough and get out of your head to do it, but it's not mysterious or difficult to achieve. You might want to have an offering of some kind nearby when you do this so that you can set that out and say, "This is for you, spirit of the house," and you can do this whether or not the house spirit shows itself to you. It might take several tries. After you've done this, set up an altar of some kind. It can be very simple. I often find that just having some pieces of wood or some twigs in a jar is plenty. And again, I would give an offering whether or not you find a house spirit the first time you try. A few things that I find helpful is to keep my eye out for interesting shaped twigs that might want to go on that altar as I'm walking around the city, or especially any that appear in my yard. I also tend to periodically just stand in the central doorway of my home and put my hands on the door frame and say thank you to the physical structure of my house for keeping me safe and sheltered, and thank the spirit of the house itself for working with me. Sometimes I'll also put an offering of cordial I've made on that altar. And I just want to kind of add here that your house spirit might not show you in a human kind of way. It might not show up as a creature. It might show up as a sensation on your skin, or a reflection of light, or a color, or a sound. Just allow yourself to accept what does come to you and work with that. Try and remember that sensation, whatever it was, whether it makes sense to you or not, when you make an offering to that house spirit. And I just want to add that it's really important to trust your gut. If something feels off when you contact a house spirit, or a spirit shows up claiming to be your house spirit, trust that, stop, and clear the space energetically. I also feel like it's really important to do kind of a yes-no confirmation with some form of divination to make sure that the spirit you're working with is beneficial. That can look like a 3-card spread, just straight out asking, what do I need to know about this spirit? And you're looking for beneficial or cards that make you feel good to show up. You can also use your pendulum. And once you have some kind of sense of who your house spirit is and have made some offerings, you can start checking in with them occasionally. And you can use that same technique of sitting down, touching the house, and going into a softened state of consciousness. Or you can use a yes-no technique of some kind and just ask questions to get information. I tend to think of my house as a second skin, or an energetic barrier around my energy and my home. And so one of the ways I approach this is that I will use herbs that are traditionally used for healing the skin and making it stronger, like chamomile and calendula. And then I'll put them either in a steam pot or make some tea and sprinkle it around the house, or I might strew them in the corners of my home. Another practice that I do in working with house spirits is to put rosemary oil or St. John's wort oil on my hands and imagine gratitude and appreciation for my home, a sense of blessing running down from my heart, through my arms, and out my hands, and turn in a circle around my home, offering that blessing to the house, and maybe saying something like, "House and spirit of the house, may you survive, thrive, and be nourished." And if you have any large trees nearby, they will often have roots growing under the foundation or near the foundation of your home, and you can make offerings of water and breath to those trees to help support your house and your house spirit. I feel like the house spirit really likes the big tree spirits that are around, and the tree spirits often act as an anchor and kind of an ally to help stabilize and protect the home. They're sort of like an ally, not just for you, but for your house spirit, in the way I think about it. That's not something I've read about other places. Let me know in the comments if you are interested in house spirits, if you've ever worked with them, what you think about them, what your opinions of them are. I like that we can all learn from each other. And as we move deeper into autumn, I'm going to be sending my Witchcraft newsletter out a little more frequently because, you know, Samhain is coming up. And so check the description for the link for my newsletter if you'd like to get that. And if you live in the Pacific Northwest, I'm starting interviews for my 9-month in-person Witchcraft program. I also wanted to let you know that a very small portion of this video was originally part of a Patreon workshop. So if you'd like to go deeper into my content and help me out by supporting me there, I'll put a link to Patreon in my description as well. So until next time, stay safe and be well.